blew the clutch almost instantaneously. What's up, boys? This is my 1999 24 valve Cummins that I've built from a farm truck into a SEMA truck, and I wanted to take you guys along, show you everything I've done to it, and tell you exactly how much money it would take you guys to build the exact same truck. So this truck has gone through a ton of changes, but for you guys to understand exactly what it went through, I have to start at the beginning. So I picked this truck up in Arizona. It actually frequented my grandpa's ranch down there in Arizona. Now, as I'm sure most of you guys know, it is pretty impossible to find a completely rust-free second gen. So when this one popped up in Arizona, my grandpa called me about it. I hopped on the opportunity right away, got on an airplane, went down and grabbed it. When I picked this truck up, it was completely bone stock farm truck. It even had those big, ugly 4-post mirrors. Take a look. So while I was building this truck, I had a ton of help from different people and companies. So I just wanted to take a quick opportunity to say thank you to all of the companies who have helped me out on this truck along the way. I've tagged all of them down below so you guys can go and check them out. Now, out of the respect for those companies, I won't be going into details about the sponsorships or the exact discounts I received off of products. So all of the prices that I will list in the video will just be based on MSRP of the value right now. So make sure you check that out, especially if you're looking to build a sandwich. And if you have any questions about products that aren't listed in the description, then go ahead and leave a comment and I'll make sure I get to you. Now, with that being said, the first thing that I did to the truck when I bought it was I swapped out the stock second gen bumper. This truck was not a sport from the factory, so I swapped the second gen bumper for a fourth gen bumper with someone on Facebook Marketplace. The fourth gen bumper didn't have fog lights, so I added fog lights and brackets. So after the fourth gen bumper, I wanted the mirrors to match. So I took off the old farm style mirrors and I put on fourth gen style mirrors from Amazon, which I have linked below. The next big modification I did was brand new headlights, because the stock second gen headlights not only looked like crap, but they performed awful. I couldn't see anything at night, even with an untinted windshield. The company I actually bought my headlights from is no longer in business, but they were pretty expensive. Once I was done with the headlights, I decided the next thing it needed was a bed liner. It had a factory spray-in bed liner, but it was pretty hammered for being 20 years on the farm. So I stripped out that bed liner and redid it myself. I used a kit from AutoZone that is linked below. I was super pleased with how much the headlights actually changed the look of the vehicle, so I added cab lights next, and I used the cab lights from HID Factory, which I've been super happy with. They don't leak, they look super bright at night. I've been super pleased with them. When we had the headliner out to do the cab lights, I redid all the upholstery on the headliner and made it look brand new. So then once the farm truck look was gone from the vehicle, I decided I want a little bit more power out of it. And we added the Quadzilla tuner with the iQuad attachment so you can use it from your phone. Honestly, a good tuner makes a huge difference, especially on these vehicles, and the Quadzilla is as good as they come. And the nice thing for me is that I've been able to keep the same tuner through the duration of the vehicle because it allows for custom tuning. So no matter when I added injectors and turbos, which we'll get into later, I didn't have to change anything with the tuner other than the actual tune files themselves. Now, Diesel Auto Power is the one who recommended the Quadzilla to me, and I loved it so much I called them right back up and said, hey, I love the tuner. I want more horsepower out of my truck. What do you guys recommend for me? And they told me I should do 150 horse injectors, a 63mm turbo, and a full 4-inch exhaust. That 63mm turbo was the first of 3 aftermarket turbo setups I had, and if you want to see more about the turbo setups that I've had, click right here. So once I put those 150 horse injectors in, and with the bigger turbo, I blew the clutch almost instantaneously. So the next thing I did was add a Valera single disc clutch, which I was super happy with as well. The Valera single disc I had at the time was a great pairing for that turbo and injector setup, and it only went once I added more horsepower. So if you have a similar setup, that Valera single disc will probably do just fine for you. Now, as I talked about in my turbo video, if you watched that, I did love the way that 63mm performed, but I wanted a little bit more whistle. So I switched to the Fleece Cheetah 63mm, which as far as I'm concerned is the loudest turbo as far as whistle that you'll find for these second gen Cummins. That Fleece Cheetah turbo sounds insane. It is super loud, super whistly, and honestly a great addition if you're looking to make your turbo a little bit louder. Again, I'll link those down below. So now that the farm truck look was mostly out of the truck and we added a little bit more horsepower, I decided it was time for the truck's first lift. And I actually bought a 5-inch zone kit off of Marketplace. It was used. I got it powder coated at Twilla Powder Coat. Shout out Twilla Powder Coat real quick. They've done all the work on this vehicle and honestly never even thought once about taking it anywhere else because their work is immaculate. I actually paired that lift with a 22x14 hostel wheel and Venom tires that I bought off of Marketplace. And I actually thought the truck looked really cool. Now, of course, with the new lift, I wanted to show off my new powder coat. So I added rock lights and wheel lights. And at first I just did Amazon specials to save a couple dollars. And they were okay, but honestly, not worth the money I saved because I had to wire them all individually. And they honestly weren't that bright. I actually got my first sponsorship deal that I was super proud of with Adrenaline Off-Road. They offered wheel lights for my truck and they were insanely bright, so I was super happy with those. So I actually sold those 22x14 hostels for what I consider way too much money, but I sold them before I had my new wheels ordered. So in the meantime, I borrowed some wheels from a very upstanding citizen of the Utah community, Riley. What the hell? Shout out Riley, man. So that was the first time that this truck ever had forged wheels on it. And honestly, the first time I ever thought that chrome or polished look looked good. Unfortunately, by the time I decided the polished look was what I was after, I had already ordered my 26x14 Cali off-roads, paired up with a Venom RT. I ran those Calis for a while and I actually thought they looked pretty good. I wasn't too disappointed with them, but I still couldn't get over how good the truck actually looked on polished wheels. So I decided I was going to save my money for a set of forged wheels. So after saving my money for about 4 or 5 months, Santa brought me some 26x14 KG1 Victors, my first ever forged wheel. Now when I first mounted up those 26x14 KG1s on my truck, the truck was peak. I didn't think it could get any better than that. Now that zone kit looked really cool on the truck, but I was chasing a little bit better ride quality, so I added Fox 2.0 with reservoirs all the way around the truck. Now coming from Arizona, the positive was that the truck was rust-free and didn't really have to deal with harsh road conditions. The negative was it did have to deal with harsh sun conditions. So what that meant for the vehicle was that the clear coat was completely shot and actually peeling in a lot of places. So inherently, the next item on my list was to get this truck fully painted. But I wanted to do it right. I wanted to completely strip all of the body parts, do the door panels, the engine bay, under the hood, everything. Now I also chose a very expensive color to do because it is a tri-coat, meaning it has not only sealer, but then base, a pearl, and then a clear coat. So with those things in mind, when I called around and asked different shops for different quotes, I was getting anywhere between $20,000 and $50,000 for a full respray. Now at the time, I couldn't afford a $50,000 paint job, and I also didn't want to go with a $3,000 Mako paint job that I wouldn't be happy with. So I decided the only way I could afford the actual quality that I wanted was to do it myself. The big problem with that is that I don't know how to paint, and I'm not very good at body work. The nice thing though is that my brother went to high school with a very talented painter, so he hooked me up and honestly is willing to hook all of you guys up, so I'll drop his socials down below. Now the guy who painted my truck, his name is Carter, hands down one of the coolest dudes you'll ever meet, cares about his work, so if you guys want stuff done, you're in the Utah area, make sure you hit up Carter Gomez. I'll leave all of his socials down below.
It's white, like perfect white, and then you get up to it.
In a way, painting this truck almost made me re-fall in love with it. It seriously made the truck feel brand new to me. If you remember, right before we painted the truck, I added those Fox reservoir shocks, and they helped a little bit with ride quality, but I wanted the truck to ride even better because these second gens kind of ride like shit from the factory. So as we were putting the truck back together from paint, I added a 5-inch long arm kit from BDS, which I was super happy with and rode way better than the Zone kit. Now with the paint, we did add a few new things to the truck. I redid the grille, the rear bumper. We added a cowl hood to the truck. We also added things like the Boost Auto Parts auto folding mirrors. They fit way better than the Amazon ones I had before, and the chrome caps look amazing on the truck. We also added paint matched headlights and taillights, which made a huge difference in the way the truck looks. So now that the outside of the truck was absolutely dialed in, I couldn't forget about the interior, so we added a new head unit, new speakers, all new seat covers, which I'll link all of which down below. They made a huge difference for me because the outside of my truck felt brand new, but these help make the inside feel at least nice enough. Obviously, it's still gonna feel like a 30-year-old truck in there. There's not the same amenities that a new truck has, but having nice seat covers and a nice sound system is a huge upgrade over stock in these trucks. Next thing we did from there was add Longhorn fabrication track bars to the rear. The BDS long arm kit came with long arms in the front, obviously, and I wanted something to match in the rear, and the Longhorn fab track bars actually looked really nice. And honestly, that's how the truck sat for quite a long time. I thought it looked awesome. It drove nice. I couldn't really complain about anything. But that winter, I caught the itch and I had to change it up again. But I'd already gone through 2 different lift kits, and no one really makes a bigger lift kit for these second gens. There's just not the same amount of options there are for the newer trucks. So I called up RI Fab. I'd heard about them a little bit, but I researched them online. I called him up. We decided that we were gonna go with an 11-inch ride height kit, and he told me that I could bring it up to him. He'll build the whole lift kit from scratch, match it to my vehicle, and we'll get it dialed in. So then the next step for me was I went ahead and got my truck put on a rendering so I could send it to different companies, see if we could get a sponsored spot for SEMA. So once I got the rendering back, we went ahead and took the truck up to Idaho. Pretty much on the way up there, I decided I was going to ditch the pipe link style lift and we were going to do a full show style lift, a decision I'm super grateful I did, but it did come at a cost. We ended up actually finding our own manufacturer for rock lights and wheel lights that weren't overly expensive, but also lit up the night. As you can see, they are extremely bright. So I'll drop a link for those as well, but those were a huge upgrade over the Amazon ones. And the last 2 things I have done since the lift kit is I did a full sport front end conversion. So I bought the whole thing brand new from LMC Truck. Even the hardware is brand new. Every single piece of that sport front end came from LMC Truck. And the last thing I did was add a bed cover from Real Truck. They have always provided really good accessories for me, so I've been super excited about the bed cover. So now that we've added the total up, you tell me, is any second gen worth that amount of money? So if you guys like this content, make sure you like, subscribe. If you want merch, it'll be down below. Make sure you check out all of the companies that we've linked down below, as they were instrumental in me making sure that we could make this 2G come to life. If you guys have any other questions about the truck, the build, or anything else, drop them in the comments below. I'll see you guys next week.